Hi, Dave Faulkner from the Hoodoo Gurus here, and I'll be programming Rage for the next little while. So let's see what I found in the deep, dark vaults. The Hoodoo Gurus and the Bangles have a very long association. Going back to the mid-80s, we toured together in America, and when we first booked the tour, it was going to be co-headline. We were going to headline one night, they were going to headline the next night. Unfortunately, they released a song called Manic Monday shortly before the tour began, and it went high up the charts, and it was number one about the third week of the tour. So it was very obvious as the tour was beginning that we were going to be supporting them the whole way through, which we love. They're a great band, and this is a song from their first album, and it's called Going Down to Liverpool, first done by Katrina and the Waves and written by Kimberly Rue. Wonderful song and a great songwriter. I love Sylvester as one of my favourite artists. He's kind of almost forgotten by a lot of people. You probably know one of his big hits, which is You Make Me Feel Mighty Real. That was also a big part of the Paris is Burning ballroom scene, New York black drag and the voguing. But Sylvester was an incredible artist. He started pre-disco. His first albums are wonderful on Blue Thumb Records, if you can find them. But he also had a really great career in the gay clubs, and he was a very gay artist, and sang in the falsetto voice and was just astonishing performer. I never saw him. I'd love to have seen him perform. It's one of my big regrets that I never got to see Sylvester, because he did come to Australia, apparently. This was a song he did with Patrick Cowley, who was a very famous pioneer of electronic dance music as well, and along with Giorgio Moroder. And this is from 1978. Patrick Cowley, unfortunately, passed away in 1982 from AIDS at the age of 32. So we lost a great artist very young from that terrible pandemic. So I just want to say, that pandemic is still going now. And the one we've been going through just lately, that's not over yet either. So don't think that you can just relax and pretend that it's not happening anymore because you want it to be over. Sorry, be careful, take precautions, and live. Enjoy yourself. I'm a huge fan of Blake Scott from the PEEP Temple. His album from last year, I think, was the best Australian album of the year, Nisitam. So I hope you've heard that one by now. If not, check it out. It's brilliant. Incredible lyricist, and he writes with a common touch. He doesn't try to disguise anything at all, but it's very poetic as well, using very normal language, a bit like great poets like Robert Frost or Dylan Thomas. They seem to have a way of turning ordinary language into very far beyond ordinary descriptions. And this is from PEEP Temple, who are also brilliant, and this album was nominated for the Australian Music Prize the year it came out. I think it was 2014, Tales. And I think this might be, in a sense, the title track, because it has some sort of tales in it. Big Fish it's called. Hi, Dave Faulkner here from the Hoodoo Gurus, and you are watching Rage. Rick Grossman, the bass player for the Hoodoo Gurus, was a very close friend, of Christina Amphlett. And of course he was in the DIVINYLS at one stage, but he remained very close to Christina right throughout her life. And I've always loved this song, even though I wasn't a huge DIVINYLS fan. This song got to me immediately, and it's off their Temperamental album, I think, or is it What a Life? I'm not sure. But it was produced by Mike Chapman, one of only 2 songs he did with the band, I believe. And it's a gorgeous song, Sleeping Beauty. I had the great pleasure of working with Chrissy with Antenna, and we did a song that we thought she'd sound good on, and believe it or not, it was called Divine, but we hadn't thought of her singing it until after we recorded it. We didn't actually think of her when we were writing the song or the lyrics. And she used to still perform that song right through to the end of her life, whenever she performed by herself in New York, where she was living. And I was incredibly proud to know that. So, Chrissy, we love you and miss you terribly. Hi, Dave Faulkner from the Hoodoo Gurus here. Thanks for hanging out with me for a little while. I'm going to leave you now, but I'd like to play one more video. It's one of our songs. It's called Get Out of Dodge. I'm going to be back tonight, so if you feel like staying up late, I'll be with you and playing right through the hours of the night on Rage. Hi, Dave Faulkner here from the Hoodoo Gurus, and I will be your courier tonight. I'm the host of Rage for the next few hours, and I've poured through the filing cabinets in the back rooms here, and I found a whole lot of things that are gathering dust and need to get a bit of an airing. So stick around, let's see what I found. One of the greatest groups of all time, not given enough credit, DEVO. Very perverse sensibility, brilliant intellectual art rockers, I guess. They came up through the punk scene, but they predated it by many years. Beyond description, just great. And this video really says it all. I'm very happy to be hosting Rage because I can present a video by one of my favourite Australian bands of all time, Died Pretty. And I'm also very personally happy because Ron Pino, the singer, is one of my best friends. And this is a big shout out to Ron S. Pino and the Superstitions, who have a wonderful album out right now, just came out the end of last year, called Do the Understanding. Go to Spotify or whatever you listen to and check it out. Wonderful record and a brilliant artist. And here he is in his young prime with all his long Iggy Pop style moves and hair. I came up through the punk scene and I remember vividly the English scene. They had a company of followers. They were called the Bromley Contingent. But they were actually from the glam rock scene originally, and they all were Bowie fans and especially fans of ROXY music, a band that you wouldn't normally associate with punk rock. But they were the first sort of bands that broke with the hippie prog malaise that had sort of bogged music down for many years. And they came on with Artifice. They called it art rock, and they were tongue-in-cheek, bit camp at times, but also very intellectual. And it is everything that you would say about post-punk and, you know, things that came along after punk rock. But the punks recognised ROXY music as being something different and something fresh, and that's why when they discovered the Pistols and the Ramones, they were ready for that as well, because they already had their ears open. But ROXY music were trailblazers, and this is from one of their best albums. You'll see Brian Eno, he was the keyboard player, but he was known for doing electronics, and that's what he's doing in this video. He's not actually playing anything, he's just running tape machines and effects on the guitar. So that's interesting in itself, kind of forward thinking. But this is from the second album, For Your Pleasure, and one of the weirdest songs on it, In Every Dream Home a Heartache. It's all about a love song to a sex toy. Well, because I'm programming Rage, I get to play clips by all my friends. And here's another friend of mine, Wendy Wild. She's the one in the kind of the giant, it's not an afro, but it's a big white sort of frizzy wig. She's kind of diminutive. But this is her group that she was a member of, all-female group called PULSALLAMA. They were basically, I think, bass guitars and percussion, no other melodic instruments. So you probably hear xylophones and things. And PULSALLAMA came around in the post-punk era, and the very famous story about them was they supported the Clash when the Clash were huge, and they were headlining the Meadowlands Stadium, the football stadium in New Jersey where the Giants play. And PULSALLAMA just outraged the crowd incredibly, and they threw everything they could lay their hands on it, the poor band. But the Clash loved it because they loved the fact that they was too punk even for this supposed punk audience. Or I guess the Clash weren't even having a punk audience in those days. But PULSALLAMA were brilliant, and Wendy went on to have a very brilliant career herself. Unfortunately, she did succumb to breast cancer many years ago, but her spirit is very strong, and you'll find many tributes to Wendy on the internet. And I recommend you look them up because this is a wonderful artist. Well, it's Dave Faulkner programming Rage. Of course, I'll be playing a Ramones song. It's a given. They're one of my favourite bands of all time. I think they're one of the most important bands of all time. And this is from their Road to Ruin album from 1978. It's hard to believe they did 4 albums in 2 years, and all of those albums are completely brilliant. This was the most commercial song, I guess, for the Ramones. And of course, they never had a hit single. They never got much airplay. All the bands that copied them and followed them, the post-punk, pop-punk and all these Green Days and Blink-182s, they all got the money and the riches and the success. The Ramones never had that. But the Ramones have our hearts. And here they are in the place that they helped make famous, CBGB's, that dirty, disgusting venue and that crappy stage with the horrible toilet smell. We played there, luckily, for us to have that memory in our memory banks. The Hoodoo Gurus played there in '84. But this is from 1978, and the Ramones at CBGB's. I've always loved the Warumpi band. From the first song they released, Jalan Guru Pakanu, I just thought it was brilliant. The naivete, but also the pure rock and roll spirit of the band was just infectious. They have a joy in their music, as well as obviously a lot of passion. You can and they are, by the very act of existing, they are a statement of pride and of, you know, integrity. And all their records are great. There's a great compilation came out many years ago, but this song is from their first album, Big Name No Blankets, and it unfortunately doesn't feature George on lead vocals. He jumps in occasionally and sings backing vocals, but George I'm sorry I get the name wrong because it's Burrawanga, excuse me, and Neil Murray's doing the lead vocal, along with Gordon and Sammy Butcher, the brothers, at the rhythm section and guitarist. This song, I just love the video. It captures Central Australia and also their joy and the spirit between the four people in the band. It's infectious. If you can't smile after this, there's something wrong. So here we are, WARUMPI Band on the Breadline. Hi, Dave Faulkner here from the Hoodoo Gurus, and I'm on your telly all night, programming rage. Enjoy, I hope. I love the album, the self-titled album by Jen CLOHER from 2017, Jen CLOHER, naturally enough. And this song in particular really struck a chord. I think it was written about the seaside towns on the east coast of Australia, perhaps, around Lakes Entrance or somewhere like that. Jen has a long association, I believe, as from childhood. We're going there on family holidays, whatever. It's certainly, very descriptive, the way she describes the seafood rotting in the wheelie bins and the things like that. It's a beautiful song. I mean, the video doesn't actually show a seaside town, but you get the same vibe. It's all about those sort of childhood memories and how they still draw you back to very strongly. And she's a brilliant lyricist. This also features the amazing guitar playing of Courtney Barnett. She's incredible on this album as well. So it was a masterpiece, this record. Hi, Dave Faulkner here from the Hoodoo Gurus, and we have a new album out called Chariot of the Gods. Check it out now. Meanwhile, look at this, and this, and this. I'm programming all these songs tonight on Rage. I'm a big fan of club music. You wouldn't think so because I'm in a hairy rock band, or used to be hairy, rock band. But I do love dance music, and I love soul and all sorts of R&B, and including stuff from the 90s. And this is a track by Crystal Waters, one of my favourite songs of all time, actually, to dance to at least. And I first discovered it on the soundtrack for Wigstock the movie, which is a great film if you ever want to see something kooky. Predates RuPaul's Drag Race. I think he might even be in the movie, actually, as a performer. But Wigstock the movie, and Crystal Waters doing 100% Pure Love. One of my favourite places on earth every year, which I unfortunately don't get to go every year, but it's the Jazz and Heritage Festival in New Orleans. And one time I was there, I happened to stumble across this necked act who were very famous, but I didn't know them at all. They produced albums for Motown, and I also produced like a Diana Ross album, and wrote songs, lots of hits. Ain't No Mountain High Enough for the Supremes, California Soul for the Fifth Dimension. This is incredible work. And they had a great career by themselves. You might know one of their famous songs from the mid-80s called Solid as a Rock, but this is an earlier song from 1979, The Last Great Year of Disco. And it's from Stay Free, and it's ASHFORD and SIMPSON doing Found a Cure, the opening track. This next one is why we make videos. I wish I had made this video. I'd love to star in this video. It's just ridiculous. Enjoy it. Rick James, Cocaine is a Hell of a Drug. Hi, Dave Faulkner here. You've been sitting with me for the last few hours as I programmed all these old crazy songs that kind of appealed to me on the Rage Vaults. But now we're going to play some of my music with my band, the Hoodoo Gurus. And here's a single that we released last year. It's called World of Pain. And some of you coming home right now may be in for this if you're not careful. This is Dave Faulkner. I'm from the Hoodoo Gurus. And this is all the rage. Rage. Hello, Australia. Happy New Year. Dave Faulkner from the Hoodoo Gurus here. And I want to play something a bit fun. Let's have a little toast to Tone Loc and Funky Cold Medina. Good.